or two here and see if it's way too early in the morning. Nobody's gonna show up. So I like doing the live videos because they I don't know if they upload while you're taking them or whatever, but it's a lot faster to go online. And honestly, people seem to like them a little bit more. I am driving to Minneapolis right now. I have a doctor's appointment there, so I will be spending most of the day in Minneapolis. So I don't know if I'll be able to be on my computer or not during the process. I mean, it'd be really cool if I could, which means I can keep updating files from the doctor's office, but we'll see. Now, you know, I have noticed that people that I am competitive with have been watching my videos because I've seen comments that they've made online about things that I've said in the videos. And, you know, I'm going to reach out and say the same thing I've said to competitors in every industry that we're in, that instead of being competitive to the point where competitive to the point where I'm being attacked, and everybody's hiding things and this and that, you know, it's so much easier to either, you know, leave each other alone and let people's work sell itself, or work together. And I am 100% okay with working with a competitor to make better products for everyone, to work out deals, spending, all kinds of stuff. So I find that with how small the eco-diesel world is, that it is easier for competition to breed better products. Well, to breed better products by being healthy competitive with each other, like the space race. Who's going to be the next one to do this? Who's going to be the next one to do this? And instead of companies bashing each other over just some little shit, wouldn't it be so much better if it's like, okay, oh wow, this company put out a modified turbo, and then another competitor's like, oh shit, like I need to do something, and then that company puts out a modified turbo or something else. Maybe they put out a nitrous kit or something. You know, there's so many better ways to be competitive with each other than to bash each other's businesses or try to hurt each other's businesses. And that's why I like small business competition, is because small businesses will go out of their way to continue to be competitive with other businesses and create products that otherwise wouldn't exist. Up until the point where I came into this, nobody was creating new products. You know, they add little ththings to tuning, but tuning is always going to be like that. You add a depth gauge, add switch on the fly tuning. You know, take the depth gauge, turn it into an EGT gauge, and all kinds of stuff like that. And that comes with time. You get bored. Tuners get bored. You know, the more they build something, the more they're like, wow, you know, I can make it a little bit better. I can make a change. I can do this. I can do that. There's so much that you can do in these vehicles to make them run better, be faster, make more power, be more efficient. But with not enough competition, it doesn't breed any more better of a product. So, you know, we have that upgraded factory turbo that we're about to put on the truck. We have the downpipe that goes from like a 2 3/4 inch hole, which actually matches the back of the turbo. It's a nice smooth transition. And then it goes from there to 3 inch to 4 inch, and then it's a 4 inch downpipe back. You know, that product has not existed before in this market. We haven't had a true 4 inch downpipe. We've had companies that make a 3 inch downpipe that switches to 4 inch. We've never had a company make 4 inch. And it literally took one phone call. It took one message from me to Josh, CFT, and said, hey, Josh, there's a market for 4 inch downpipe on these trucks. And he's like, well, if you buy one, I'll make it. So I bought one at like 6 a.m. And at like 11 or noon, he sent me a picture. The downpipe's already done, ready to go for my truck. So I have the downpipe ready to go. I have the turbo ready to go. We're just got to pick a day here where we can pull the cab off the truck. And we're going to install the turbo at the same time. Or sorry, same time. We're going to install the turbo. We're going to install the downpipe. We're going to inspect like the coolant lines and things like that while the cab's off. And we may finally install CP3 conversion. Now, this is where I'm talking about with competition. We're going to install a CP3 conversion, and we to CP3 displayed CP3 to the vehicle. It was never completed. It was never finished. So we basically bought the product / design, whatever you want to call it, and changed it. So we have new versions of these coming out that do not require a modified timing cover, meaning you will not take timing cover off the vehicle, you will not take the valve cover off the vehicle. The CP3 will literally bolt to the front necessary to hook it up. We will be doing tuning for this because you can't just bolt these on and drive your vehicle. I mean, there may be a possibility, look, 30 some years old, I think it's fucking dead. There may be a possibility that we might bolt this on and be like, oh shit, the truck runs great. Reduce some of the fuel pressure tables, probably have to change some codes, and that might be all it is. Or it could take 20, 30 hours of tuning. Either way, we're going to do it, and we're going to have a tune set up for the CP3 conversion, which people will be allowed to buy with the CP3 conversion. But this is where the competition stuff comes in. If somebody has a CP3 conversion they want to buy, and they have a different company that they're happy with, and they want to use that company, if a company is friendly in the competitive matter, I can give that information to the company. I can say, hey, here's the tables that we change, here's the information, this is information on the product that I sell and how to get the product to work on your customer's vehicle. That's what quality competition breeds, is that companies will help each other out in order to help the industry out, in order to help everyone out. A customer shouldn't have to switch to a different company just because they install the product on their vehicle. With that being said, when companies are not when companies are not competitive with each other on a friendly or proper or formal matter, things change. I can say, hey, here's a CP3 conversion, this is the warranty or whatever that comes with it, but if you have any other tuning on your vehicle other than mine, you have no warranty. That's the kind of stuff that can come with it. Or you have companies that are friends with each other, not even friends, companies that are respectful of each other, and I can say, hey, you can buy the CP3 conversion, you can be warranted, but you have to have company A, company B, or company C for tuning to make sure that the CP3 pump is not going to be destroyed by tuning. That's what the main difference is. But when companies try to burn each other down, it removes that ability and actually makes it harder for the it makes it harder for the customer themselves to have quality products, quality tuning, and quality support. You know, when companies support each other or are respectful of each other, let's say someone is, let's just make up a random company. So let's say we have a company in literally the farthest east part of Canada, okay? And let's say we have an American company in, let's just say California, okay? They're 4 hours apart. Let's say a customer is having problems and it's fucking 10 p.m. and they're in California. No one from the East Coast of the country is going to respond to their information to help them out because they're probably asleep. Now, if you can have companies in Vegas, Michigan, and the East Coast of Canada, West Coast of Canada, okay, so it allows them to help out whatever customer has problems, but then that same thing can happen vice versa, you know, when it's the other way around. And that's kind of how it was for me with a lot of Hemi and LS shops when we did, well, we still do a lot of Hemi and LS tuning. It's just my employee does all my gas tuning now because I don't have time for it anymore. So he does all my gas tuning. But the thing is we have friends that own LS shops all over the country, Hemi shops all over the country. They have issues, they get a hold of me. I have issues, I get a hold of them. I have templates for everything for my Hemi and LS stuff. I can have a shop that I'm friends with on the other side of the, oh shit, I have a 5.7 here, customer put Hellcat injectors in. Hellcat injectors, do you have some data? I say, well, not only do I have data, I have a template. Here's the template. Open it up. It'll populate the data for the Hellcat injectors, and you can move forward with your tuning. And the best part about it is they can keep the template forever, meaning they got something, and in the future, it means that down the road, if I need help with something, they're automatically there to help. So I say that basically reaching out, saying, hey, all the other companies that do this, that do the eco-diesel tuning, I am 100% okay with sharing certain information and being more formally competitive instead of creating problems and issues, because all that does is hurt the customer. Right now you go on eco-diesel pages, and what you have is you have customers asking information, and then you have companies arguing, fighting, and bashing other companies on the posts instead of actually helping the customer out. I have companies messaging my customers offering money for their computers in order to see what my tuning looks like, which at the same time, the same companies are posting online talking poorly about my tuning. But if that's the case, why would they be offering a decent amount of money to buy used versions of my computer if they've already seen it? Because if they've already seen the tuning, it would mean they already have the file, meaning they wouldn't need my computers for anything because they already have a copy of the tuning. But that's neither here nor there. I would like the eco-diesel world to be more competitive in the way that the Cummins and Duramax world used to be, where there's huge events for diesels all around the country that everyone goes to, and all the big companies are there, and a lot of the big companies are helping each other out. And it's not like that anymore in a lot of the diesel world because people are afraid that people are calling the government on them. They're afraid that people are stealing their stuff. That crap doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that we can continue to create quality products for the eco-diesel market, quality tuning for the eco-diesel market, and the customer in the end would receive the best quality product from whatever company they choose, because everyone is being supportive in their own way, allowing people to buy stuff based on how they feel. Like if every car dealership charged the same price for every vehicle, no matter what, you would choose the car dealership that's either closest to you, the one that's fastest to deliver, or the one that has the best customer service. And that's it. There would be nothing else. It wouldn't be, oh, who's cheaper, who's this. Oh, man. Certain sections of the tune for these products for other companies so that they can install the same product and be able to tune for it. So the thing is that when it comes to creating products in an industry, like when we do the CP3 conversion, it is easier for another tuning company to have someone buy my CP3 conversion and then them tune it than it is for them to create their own version of the same CP3 setup for such a part. Eventually, then it will be beneficial. So that's one of the reasons why we reached out to CFD and had Josh build me a downpipe, was I can build the same downpipe in my shop. I literally spent 10 years being a TIG welder, owning a TIG welding business, and working with stainless. So that's not a problem. We can build whatever we want out of stainless. But I would have had to create where Josh already has all that already done. So why not pay the couple extra $100, have a company that already can make the product for me, and then I can just recommend that when people buy, but it's spreading it around a little bit. So that means companies like CFT will continue to make products for the eco-diesel market rather than back out of it. One of the things that they might be making soon, which we're going to help, uh, I guess, I don't want to say fund, we're going to help with the research and development of making a new plate for the oil cooler system so that you can have an oil cooler, but it is going to eliminate the crappy plastic oil filter housing and go to a standard one that like you would have on a Cummins, but you would have significantly better filtering. I don't remember what Josh said it was down to. I don't want to say a number and be like way the hell off, but that would allow us to have better oil cooling for our trucks that tow. But at the same time, by having better filtration, a truck can either go longer on quality oil, or a guy doesn't have to worry as much about his bearings and things like that because the vehicle is actually filtering way better. And then you don't have to buy this stupid relocation kit and have all kinds of crap underneath your hood, extra crap. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great idea to do the separate one, but it's kind of dumb at the same time. So to be able to switch over to like a Cummins filter makes a huge difference, because the best part about it is that the location that it would be on the EcoDiesel, more than likely you'll be able to reach in, unscrew it, and pick it straight up. So you still have minimal oil spillage like we would with the paper filter, but you no longer have that junk, shitty paper filter. Every time I take that paper filter out, and people all over Facebook are always like, "Hey, I made a comment," and I was like, "Oh, fuck them stupid." And people are like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Going 1,000 miles on oil changes?" No, don't get me wrong. I haven't been changing them at 7 like I prefer to. I've been changing them closer to 15, which is probably more than the paper filters can handle. And they're shot. They're definitely shot, and they're not shot where they're ripped. They're just completely compacted. I mean, our Cummins work trucks, we used to run them to 25,000 miles on an oil change without issue. We didn't like to, but we traveled on the highway a lot. So, you know, when you drive back and forth from Wisconsin, okay, so, you know, we do 80 miles. How bad really is the oil? Now, we probably should start doing analysis. God damn, I can't say that word. An oil analysis on my personal oil on my vehicle and see, can I go farther? Should I be adding additives? This last time when I did an oil change, I used the T6 Rotella, which I think I pretty much use every time. I use Mobile One once, so I used the T6 Rotella, and I didn't use the stiction eliminator this time. But normally I use the stiction eliminator, which a lot of people comment and they're like, "Oh, that's stupid. You don't need that. Whatever. It doesn't hurt it, does it?" But this last time I actually added zinc. And for those of you that are not familiar with zinc and other metals like that, they're very soft metal. And they're such a soft metal that at the point that they actually, I'm trying to think of the correct word here, they actually embed cylinder walls and things like that. That are starting to hit, be damaged, scratches, scores, things like that. Adding zinc helps a lot with that to your oil, because the zinc actually builds up in these locations as a soft metal and helps fill these areas in. And it's also a lubricant, which again, when you think about it, you're like, "Well, how the fuck is metal a lubricant? It doesn't make sense." Well, I mean, think about this. You take in magnesium, zinc, iron, all kinds of metal into our bodies, and we're just fine. But lead is a huge lubricant. Lead was one of the worst and best things ever put into a car engine. Lead, cars got amazing fuel mileage on lead. The engines lasted way longer on lead. But it was super fucking bad for our health, super bad for the environment, bad for literally everything other than the car. And you wouldn't have been able to run oxygen sensors that completely fuck them. Trying to think what else I had to say here. You know, with our tuning, I should be getting a lot farther ahead on a lot of our tuning, because mine's come to me Saturday and I have them all summer, which means I'm going to spend a lot of time on the couch watching Paw Patrol while doing tuning. One of the things that we have been working on is we have been making, so a company made a really dumb comment the other day, and maybe I shouldn't say it was dumb. It was a reasonable comment, but they didn't really understand what we were doing. So in the end, the comment ended up being dumb. And what they said, oh, all their timing, don't they know there's different drive cycles? Yes, we 100% do know that there's different drive cycles. And a lot of vehicles, even gasoline engines, when we tune them, if there's multiple timing maps, we make one perfect timing map that covers low end, covers high end, covers wide open throttle, and covers fuel mileage all in one map. So the first step is we make every map like that. Okay, and then as we continue to tune and make the vehicle better, we start readjusting the maps to different areas of the drive cycle. So we make our perfect map for basically that covers everything, okay? Which we've had no issues with it. I'm literally doing 70 on the highway right now. It's 71 degrees out, okay? I'm getting 28 miles per gallon. Coolant temp 192, trans temp 186, oil temp 195. I have over 50,000 miles with the absolute hottest tuning possible on this engine in my personal truck. No issues. My truck, and it sucks because saying this, you feel like you're gonna have issues, like karma's gonna come kick you in the ass. But my truck hasn't. Just knock on. Oh, there's some wood grain right here. So knock on some wood there. My truck has not broke down. My truck does not have problems. When I change the oil, there's not metal shavings in it. There's nothing weird in the oil. I don't have blow by. My truck gets decent fuel mileage for the setup. It would get a lot better fuel mileage if I didn't do the 2500 front end. Make a spoiler in the 2500 bumper in order to force the air down. Because right now the air is coming through my bumper and it's hitting the front of the motor and the frame and everything. And then the air coming through my grill, it's got a nice access to the intercooler, but there's like a foot on each side where it's actually going into my engine bay, which kills your fuel mileage. So with that being said, my average when I fill up at the pump, and this is highway, city, testing, beating on it, is typically 20 to 22, which is what my truck got bone stock. Now, I would say that's reasonably good, considering I'm making 70 more horsepower, and I'm not friendly with it. Not sure why it's so difficult for the screen to stay connected, but I have to basically beat the ever-living shit out of this vehicle in order to make sure that when a customer has the exact same tuning on their vehicle, that they're going to have to worry about reliability. And as of right now, I can tell you that my tuning has no reliability issues. My turbo is still as strong. I don't have engine temp issues. I don't have oil issues. I haven't had anything happen with the tone ring. I literally have no issues whatsoever with my personal truck. I had a boost leak at one point, which was from an O-ring that ripped on the turbo, which when we make the upgraded turbos, is that we're going to weld the elbows on them. We're going to have the elbows welded to the turbo and eliminate that O-ring, which by doing that, it'll allow us to literally drive across switches and be live the whole time and not have a single issue. Better for eliminate a failure point, things like that. But that's the type of stuff that we're continually looking at, is how can we change things on the vehicle, on the parts we're making, to make the vehicle more reliable, last longer, and easier to use. You know, the benefit of us switching to the handheld was that most customers, or pretty much every customer, once we get their file completely built for them, is going to have a 70 horse tune, a 60 horse tune, a tow tune, and if they want one even lower, we can do that. If they want a stock only tune with just pedal adjustments, we can do that. We can do anything that a customer wants, which in the diesel world hasn't really been that common. it's everyone gets the same cookie cutter tune, and you say, hey, I got a bigger turbo, hey, I got this. They make an adjustment, and that's it. Give me 1 second here. I gotta check my my map. So there's not really much more to say here. The video kind of went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I thought there was something else I wanted to comment on. Someone said something about, someone made a comment about a prior video. And in the prior video, I said I can have two calibration IDs, completely identical, in two identical trucks, and the tuning works on one and it doesn't work on the other. And someone said, well, that's bullshit. Our tuning works on every vehicle. Look, some of the recent updates that Chrysler has been doing, the vehicles in the last month or two here, have been making changes that have actually been adding in a lot more stuff that wasn't there before in order to delete them. I should have said that. In order to boost some weight on the vehicle. I have my personal file, which is a Jeep file on my truck, that I have a set amount of tables I change, and I can change all the exact tables on one calibration different. So mine ends with an AP. I can go to the same number AQ, which is literally the next calibration for that exact PCM. Make all the same changes, remove all the same sections for the DAF, the EGR, the DPF, all of that, and they'll throw 7 codes, and my truck doesn't. So then we have to go through and we have to find out what new areas has Chrysler linked to these codes to cause it and go through and remove them. So there will always be continuous updates to even older calibration IDs. I have like 30 calibration IDs in my laptop right now. I would say probably 70 to 80% of my customers, I already have a calibration ID already ready for them when they send the file over. And then if I don't, we build a new one. And we don't do guinea pig testing. Like, people want to say crap like that, like, oh, you're making your customers guinea pigs, things like that. You're letting your customers. We're not doing that. What we're doing is we're taking a brand new calibration ID off of your truck, and we're basically creating the delete on it. Now, with that being said, technically, I could take the same calibration ID, more than likely, and flash it on my truck, and I can check it on my personal truck. And I have considered possibly doing that. That way, it says, you give me a file on Friday. And I said, all right, give me a couple days. I'll get you your file. I'll get you ready to go. You have a new calibration ID. And over the weekend, I can probably actually upload it on my truck, check for codes, change the file, upload it again, check for codes, and keep doing that until it's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't have codes for EGR position or anything stupid anymore. And then send the calibration ID out to the customer. And I can do that. If that makes someone feel better, I can do that. I'm trying to think here. But at the end of the day, not all of our vehicles are the same. Now, with that being said, I have everything removed from my truck. I have absolutely everything. So if anybody's vehicle is going to put an assload of codes out, it's going to be my vehicle. So, maybe that is something that I switch to, is taking every calibration ID one by one, installing them on my truck, checking for codes, and adjusting them from there. With that being said, there are changes here and there to EEPROMs that can also cause issues. And the EEPROM we cannot pull with the handheld. So with that being said, I can take a brand new calibration ID off of the most recent calibration flash, which I think is 80881AQ, and I can flash it on my truck. I can find all the issues with the delete part, remove them all, fix them all, get them all ready to go. I can send them to someone else who has the same file on their truck, but has a different EEPROM, and they can have all kinds of issues. And not issues like, oh shit, my stuff's gonna blow up. They're like, damn, all these fucking codes. And I can be like, what the fuck, that doesn't make sense. Mine doesn't have codes like that. It's because the EEPROM has different addresses and different changes to call different locations. So what FCA has been doing is going in and trying to make things continually harder and harder and harder for us to work on. So like I said, at the end of the day, sometimes it requires to all kinds of stupid crap, all related to emissions that are no longer there. So you don't really need to check your engine. What it's saying is, hey, buddy, all your crap fell off your truck. So, when you send a file to someone and they put it on a truck, like, God damn, my truck runs good, but I got this check engine light. All right, cool, no problem. Check engine light just means that there is a switch in the file or something in the file that's triggering the check engine light that needs to be changed or removed. It's simple coding. Sometimes it takes a couple tries to get the exact location down. I guess that's just how it works. Technically bench flashing is the best route because I take a computer, I bench flash, and this is what every company does. They flash their calibration ID for their test vehicle on it, their EEPROM for their test vehicle on it. They change the VIN to your VIN. They change injector codes to your injector codes, and they send you up the two computer ready to go. They just changed your truck into their truck, and they do the exact same thing I do, and it's the exact same thing all the other companies do. And they change the computer that they send. My most up to date. Every time I can add new things, I test. So anyone who has is in a position because literally at any point they could be like, hey, you got an update? Yeah, give me a couple hours, give me a day, and I'll send you a new file. Boom, put the new calibration that I have of my personal vehicle for customer vehicles and just send it over to them. And it's not that difficult for me to take those tables and add them to a different calibration ID. It's so another thing, for those of you who don't have tuning buyouts, who have PG3s from other companies, and you want to use your PG3, I have found a slight way to switch the PG3 over to me, and for you to be able to use the tuning without the device having to try and help out and things like that. If you have access to a dyno, if you drive thousands and thousands of miles, I would like for you to email me at sales@ecodieselusa.com or message me on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and talk about possibly working on getting some information together on these vehicles and being able to have another person be able to run their vehicle on a dyno to get some more dyno sheets on our tuning. I'd love to get more dyno sheets. I'm at the point where my shop was, a friend of mine just installed a badass dyno that I was going to okay, so I'm at the point where I may just have to buy a dyno here in order just to make this stuff easier. But with that being said, I do have a couple friends that own diesel shops in the area and things like that we might try to get on their dyno to get more numbers, because we're putting the turbo in soon, the 4-inch downpipe soon. And some people are going to hate us for this, some people are going to love us for this. We're going to be douchebags, and we are going to run the 4-inch from the 4-inch downpipe to the bed, and we're going to do a single offset stack in the bed of the truck, because we figure, okay, well, if we're going to be super douchebaggy about things, we're going to do it the full way. We're going to do something cool with it. But at the same time, we do want to get into either some sort of a sled pulling or drag racing with the truck as well. And there's a lot of classes for racing that we're going to enter in that actually require you to have a exhaust stack on the vehicle, so you're blowing coal in the sky rather than blowing it on the car next to you or blowing it on the ground or in the stands where people prefer to be able to breathe. So we are going to be putting a fucking stack in the bed of the truck when we do the turbo. I don't think that stack versus a standard straight pipe is going to affect our dyno numbers at all, other than the exhaust being a couple feet shorter, but the exhaust being 4-inch already, it's already bigger than the motor can flow. We're just using it to try and I don't know the correct term for it, so if you were familiar with fluid dynamics, if you're an engineer or anything like that, feel free to fill me in on what I'm talking about, or at least give me the proper name for it. But by having the turbo have, it's like a 2-inch turbine, okay? And it goes from 2-inch to like 2.75, then to 3, then to 4-inch. My understanding is that by going to that large of a pipe that fast, it has such a it has such a pressure differential that it actually helps pull the exhaust gases out of the turbo faster, almost like creating a vacuum, which is supposed to help drop EGTs, because the EGTs on the it'll allow engine to stay reliable. It'll allow us to make more power. So the goal is to make 350 horse at the wheels. So in full race tune, we're talking 350 horse, and in probably like the lower level tunes, it'll be over 300 horse. Without working the turbo too hard, without working the engine too hard, without working the fuel system too hard. I plan to make the fuel economy the same as we're getting now, or better. Less driveline pressure, and the turbo not having to work as hard, and things like that, and having more available air when you need it will help the efficiency of the engine. So hopefully the goal is to, once we install the larger turbo, and we get the tuning and stuff done for it, that our customers will be able to keep the same fuel economy that they're getting now when driving like an adult, but be able to possibly get better fuel economy while towing, because the engine doesn't have to put in as much effort to move the objects that they're towing. So I'm going to end the video here. I think I got another hour to my drive here. The video went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but we get a lot of people that watch, and we get a lot of people that are curious about the EcoDiesel, a lot of people that want to actually see the EcoDiesel market get better and bigger and more performance and things like that, and still be reliable. So, the next goal is we put this turbo on, we shoot to make 350 horse, and we put a decent amount of miles on again, and then at that point we're going compound, and from that point we're going to 100% try our hardest to absolutely max out the power of this engine without it coming apart, or running it until it does come apart. One of the two. We'd like to find another company to build head studs for it. ARP used to build head studs for these, but it required some machine work on the heads and things like that, so I don't really know if that's ever going to be a thing again. But I want to put a motor together for this vehicle that has head studs, that hopefully we can get our hands on the new crank, and then I have access right now to 100 over injectors. So 100 over injectors is probably going to be on my list to go in here. We're shooting for 700 horsepower, so it might be I shouldn't say that we're shooting to break 600. I really want to hit 700. It's just something that we want to do. We figure, you want to sell something, go big or go home. Do something that stay in the lane. Do something. There's only 2 lanes. Do something that is going to make you stand out from everyone else. And the most power ever made on one of these, the most power ever made on one of these, as far as I know, is 520 horse, 530, and that was with CFT's compound turbo kit. So we're going to do the bigger turbo that we made. We will either design our own compound kit, or we'll work with, Jesus fucking Christ, you cannot stand this shit on your screen all the time. We'll either work, so we will either work with CFT to use their compound setup, or we will create our own compound setup, or we'll create one together, whatever. And then from there, I want to make a safe customer version. Turn here. I want to make a safe customer version where they sit like in the Sorry, I was reading a text message, where it sits in a safe range. So, drive around on 400 horse, and be able to turn it up to, I see the CP3 max is out around 500. So with the compound kit, if you don't have a CP3 conversion, I should say CP4, if you don't have the CP3 conversion, you're not going to break 500 wheel horse. So if you don't do the CP3 conversion, the compound turbo kit will allow you to drive around probably on 350 to 400 horse, and on the max part of the switch, be able to put up both of the 5 wheels. But for these trucks, I think the sweet spot is going to be 350 to 400 wheel horse. They're half tons, they're 6,000 pounds. A Cummins is 9,000 pounds. 350 wheel horse on one of these should be very close to being competitive for racing and driving around on the street as a 510 horsepower wheel horsepower Cummins, which would be just a 6.7 with quality tuning. With that being said, we have done Cummins tuning, and once we get a little bit farther on eco diesel stuff, I think I'm going to start releasing Cummins tuning for the 6.7. So for those of you who do have 6.7s or switch to the 6.7, we will have that available. We have other companies tuning that we sell for right now, but we'd like to take our ideas and our abilities to the 6.7 world. Because the 6.7 Cummins, when you tune them, you either get the same gas mileage or worse. You usually don't even get better unless your emissions equipment was so fucked that removing it allowed you to get factory economy. So anyway, I'm ending the video here. Anybody has any questions, concerns, anything, message me, email me, whatever. And just everybody have a good day.